From the Fox 26 studios, this is Houston's Morning Show.
It looks like the effort to remove President Trump from office will get back on track this week. House Democrats are preparing to forward articles of impeachment to the Senate. This as members of Congress from both parties say they want to limit the president's authority when it comes to military action with Iran. Here to discuss it, Republican strategist Jacquie Baly and Democratic strategist Dallas Jones. Good morning to you both, and thanks for being here.
Good morning.
I want to start with war powers. Why does it appear that both parties seem to be on the same page when it comes to this now?
Well, just for clarification, only 3 Republicans voted for the War Powers Resolution and 8 Democrats joined Republicans against it. So pretty much for the most part, everyone was along party lines, except for those 11. And this War Powers Resolution is non-binding, so it is symbolic in nature. There is no doubt we are in unprecedented times. I mean, this gentleman, Soleimani, has been wreaking havoc in the region for 4 decades or so. And our president decided to take action. He not only hurt our several U.S. military, he was planning to do much more. There was damage that was done to the U.S. Embassy, and of course, thousands upon thousands of people have died at his hands. So something had to be done.
I mean, this is unprecedented, yet we've seen precedent of this before. I think what members of both parties, and regardless of whether it was 2 or 20, both parties joined in voting for this resolution because they were concerned about the classified briefings that they received from the White House regarding this matter. They were concerned about the fact that there has yet to be any evidence that showed that there was any threat, as claimed by the administration, against Americans in the region. And as a result, Americans feel less safe as a result of our actions towards Iran. Americans are concerned about the future, regardless of our political parties. And so members of Congress took action. And so the precedent has been, this is not the first time in American history that we've seen a government, a Republican government, put forth information that has led to war in this region when we were told that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which have yet to come to manifest itself. This is history repeating itself. And I think that what members of Congress have finally done is found one bipartisan issue, 2 or 20, that they can agree that we ought to curtail this president's authority to make sure that we are not any less safe in this world.
Let's talk about impeachment. What do you expect Nancy Pelosi to be doing this week?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the Speaker has signaled that she is looking to move the articles of impeachment forward, pending a fair trial in the Senate. What does that mean? Mitch McConnell on last week has already announced that he has the votes to move forward with the trial without the presence of any witnesses or any documents that actually support that this trial will be fair. Anything less by this constitutional oath that they will take at the beginning of this trial to be impartial jurors is an impasse for the American people. We deserve a fair trial. Anything less will be a cover-up on behalf of this president. John Bolton has said he's willing to testify. Let's hear what he has to say. He served as National Security Advisor. He certainly has a perspective. Let the American people decide, give a fair trial, and fulfill your oath to the Constitution that you swore to, and not the Republican Party.
Jacquie?
American people have decided, and 63 million people voted for the president. From day one, the Democrats have said that they wanted to impeach the president. So when Nancy Pelosi said it was imperative, we must impeach him, but to sit on the articles for 3 weeks, 26 days actually, and now all of a sudden we're going to move forward, but only on my terms. If that's not a definition of quid pro quo, I don't know what is. So the fact that she's now moving on, but she's saying it has to be on my terms, even though the Constitution is clearly written as how a senator or how the Senate should handle these types of trials. Now she wants to change the rules because she knows that there is no evidence. We've seen that there's no evidence. Person after person that they've called in the House has said there was no evidence of quid pro quo. So once again, this is just a ploy to try to derail what has happened, and in the election of President Trump is actually helping him with his re-election bid. bid. And actually, I like the fact that it's heading into the same time that we're having the Iowa caucus. You have several Democrat senators who are up for or trying to get the nomination on the Democrat side, but yet they're going to be involved in this impeachment trial. It's going to be interesting to see how all of that shapes out.
You know, since the impeachment vote 3-4 weeks ago, Democrats have been trying to pressure the leadership of the Republican Party to bring in witnesses. You mentioned John Bolton, and there may be others. How is this going to be playing out? You're saying one thing and you're saying another.
Well, I think Jackie is right. We are approaching the Iowa caucuses, and I think that both parties are sensitive to what impeachment will do to their frontliners. But there is a level of people that have to make a real decision, and that are those folks that are in these tough Senate races in states that could go one way or the other. This will be a pivotal moment in their election, and so I think the idea of whether or not you allow witnesses, I stand by, that gives us a fair trial. Now, Jackie is saying there's no evidence. Well, if there's no evidence, there should be no reason why we wouldn't allow people to put forth evidence or to be able to testify if they're willing to do so.
Well, they've been provided all of their information through the Senate, and they can tell that there's no evidence. There's no need for us to look at it if the Senate decides that there's no need to have a trial. But I like the fact that he said that I'm right. Let's make sure we understand that he said that.
No, I agreed with you that we're going into the caucuses.
But we are going into the caucuses, and this will unfold just like we saw with the Kavanaugh hearings. That gentleman was not given a fair trial by those senators. They were showboating, and all it did was increase support for the president because they saw how unfair that trial was. If they decide to go forward with a trial, then the same thing will happen with this impeachment trial with President Trump. And let's not forget, Mitch McConnell said not only does he want to make sure that the president has a fair set of rules coming into the Senate, he wants him exonerated.
Did you bring up Kavanaugh?
We'll just have to wait and see what happens this week, whether there will be a trial after those articles of impeachment are passed over to the Senate. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you chiming in at a later time as well.